Back to the black table, Juliana the Killer Miller. Just for old time's sake, Man, I feel good, undamaged, and I like teaching people a lesson. It feels good to humble somebody who's been talking smack about you, so couldn't be happier.
Speaking of the talking smack, were you kind of surprised at her intensity at the weigh-ins yesterday, and she was sort of a bit pissed off, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never had somebody huffing and puffing in my face or really screaming at me like that, but it really just showed me how scared she was, because the whole time I felt really calm and composed and collected, and normally I'm the crazy one, so seeing that from a school teacher, I'm like, damn, is this what the Guam school districts be like? Because holy crap. Poor kids, no.
Do you think, you said that you thought she was sort of scared and maybe overawed by the occasion. Did you feel that in the fight? When you were fighting her, could you feel that play out physically?
Yeah, especially near the end of the third round. She was holding on to my arms for dear life, and she put her mouth up to my ear, and she started talking. She's like, you ain't gonna hit me again with those elbows. And I'm like, girl, do you not feel your eye? Because it's pretty poofy right now. And so she's talking in my ear about, how I ain't gonna do nothing. But it's kind of funny because I was like, girl, you don't realize, like, I'm mounted on you right now. So at the end of the third round, it kind of felt good when I finally started talking back a little and gave her some elbows from my grandma.
I'm a little surprised she was talking to you like that, because it wasn't as if the fight was going her way, so I'm kind of surprised why she spoke at the end of the third round to start talking smack. Were you surprised when she started speaking, or do you think that was like she was airing an internal conflict?
I thought it was a little funny, I guess when you're desperate, people love to keep talking, so... I can't really think about what else it is, but that being said, Brogan is an incredibly seasoned opponent. She is incredibly strong, strong-willed, and but it just goes to show that, I have something you can't teach. You can't teach heart, and in this sport, it means more than lifting a weight and building a muscle. So I really do think that stuff like this comes from within.
And that was a crotch chop, I believe, you gave her at the end as you won the fight. Where did that inspiration come from?
If y'all ever seen pro wrestling back in the day, Team DX.
What year were you born, if you don't mind me asking?
96.
I think they formed in 97, so I think you were like a year old when they started doing that.
The thing is, so my grandma, when she moved here from Brazil, she didn't speak any English. She was learning English from TV shows. And so
First words were suck it.
Pretty much. I was raised with her from 6 months to 5 years old. And so as she was starting to learn English, she said that she loved wrestling because she didn't need to understand the words to see what was happening. It was all through the action. So, honestly, when I came to my team, I was like, I want to be a pro wrestler one day. And my coaches were like, well, let's give you a shot in the cage and see how you do. And I ended up loving it. But, that pro wrestler spirit kind of lives within me forever. And I just think it's exciting to put on a show, And more than anything, the suck it just came from the fact that she sat up here on this same table and... decided to say that she was going to highlight reel, knock me out cold. So it felt good to stand over her and say, look at you now.
Well, you had a great performance. Ultimate Fighter winner. But when would you like to make your UFC debut proper? When do you want to get in there, put on the UFC gloves, the Venom gear and all that?
Depending on what's available, I was worried I'd walk out of here damaged, but I'm doing just fine. I was going to say San Diego, but my coaches will be cornering my teammate Alimale McFarlane in her Bellator fight. So really, it just depends on what's possible. But I think for now, I want to go eat some cookies, enjoy myself, and hopefully have a few options getting back in the cage. But I am uninjured, so really, as long as I have a little time to prepare with my incredible team and coaches, I'm hyped and ready to be back at it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Juju. Just talk about the emotions you're feeling right now. You went through the Ultimate Fighter, which is it's just tough. It's tough. All the drama, all the bullshit. You get out, you win your fight. You're a UFC fighter. How are you feeling?
The name says it all in the tough, It really is an emotional roller coaster in there. But I feel great, and it's kind of hard to be so excited because I've seen this a long time ago. my coaches, Bill Crawford, Manolo Hernandez, and Richie Martinez, they've believed in me from the get-go, and we knew we were going to come out with the win today. And really, when you put in the right work with people that believe in you, nothing can stop you. So I was in the back, and I'm telling them, I'm like, I don't feel scared or worried. And it was almost worrying me that I didn't feel worried, but I knew I had done the preparation. So I am so grateful and excited to be here, but I knew this was going to happen. So it kind of just feels like I'm finally on the path that I knew I belong on.
Some fighters get in the UFC and they're kind of like learning on the job because they've only had a few professional fights. Like, are you worried at all that like you're in the UFC with such low professional fights, or I mean, is it just like you're meant to be here?
If I'm being completely honest, yeah, I'm kind of terrified. A lot of people had the opportunity to start slow and build up their fights, in lower levels, and a lot of girls come in here 5, 6, 7-0, and I'm not. I'm now 3-1. I know it said I was 3-1 on my way out there, but actually on my professional paper it's 2-1. Now I've earned my 3-1. So it is a little nerve-wracking, but to be quite honest with you, the fans, more than your record, they care about your showmanship and your personality. So I know as long as I step in that cage and I put on a show, I ain't going nowhere. So, it is a little nerve-wracking, but I'm happy to finally have a platform to speak my voice. And, love me or hate me, there's been a lot of eyes.
And then finally for me, who gave you Killer as your nickname?
So I wish I could. Can I bring him up here for a second?
Sure.
Come on up here, Mr. Manolo Hernandez. On his way to the black table, the Hurricane, Manolo Hernandez. Guys, this is my coach, Manny. The second I walked in the gym, it was pretty crazy. He heard about some legal trouble I was in, and he said, hey, did you really try to do that to that guy? And I said, absolutely, and I would try to kill him again. He said, oh, well, you're going to be a world champion, and your name is now the Attempted Killer Miller. And as I went pro, people kept asking me, well, who'd you try to kill? And I was like, F that person. So now I'm just a killer, and all that is history.
Thank you for that, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I know the moment is just sort of finished. You just got the trophy. But when you think you look back on this whole experience, getting in the house and everything you went through, what do you think you're going to reflect the best upon? What was the best moments or the best outcome that you took from it? Is it just getting the trophy, or did you learn something about yourself in this whole process?
One of my biggest learnings are who I can be once I'm focused. Pre-Ultimate Fighter, I was side hustling 4 different jobs. Every time I'd get a good job, I'd have to quit because I couldn't make training. I would bartend, but then I would get off at 3 a.m., try to make 8 a.m. strength and conditioning. I was falling asleep in classes, and I couldn't function properly. So I quit that job, got another side job, quit that job. I was doing whatever it takes. However, when you're fully focused, man, you can become such an incredible athlete. In Ultimate Fighter, I had no jobs. I wasn't worried about my family. All I had to worry about was training, recovering, and fighting. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to all my sponsors and everybody who supported me on this fight journey, because once I left Tough House, I told my coaches, I know this sounds rough, but I'm quitting all my jobs. All I'm doing is training and fighting, and I'm going to focus. The thing that I learned best is the woman I can be when I'm fully focused. And man, it's crazy because I'm learning so much about myself every second. And that is a great thing about being fresh in this sport, as I improve tremendously every time I'm in that octagon.
I guess with that, if you've quit all the other jobs and your focus now is completely on fighting, is there kind of a tough balance? Because you want to fight because that's where you're getting your income, but you also... do you want to take the time and kind of slow roll it and make sure that you're picking the right fights at the same time?
Well, fortunately, I talked to Mr. Bossman. We were promised bonuses on the season, and so I know I have a bonus coming my way. With that, I'm going to use it incredibly intelligently to really prep for the future. I am uninjured, but like my coaches said, we're going to choose some smart fights and stick my toes in the water instead of jumping in head first like I like to as a wild card. But I really think that we're going to take it step by step, and now that I've shown who and what I can be, I know that the sponsorships will be there, and from here on out, I'm I'm a killer and I'm here to fight, and I'm really excited to show the world some blood.
Who do you, in your head, when you say your announcement there, are you imitating, is that a little Buffer, or do you envision Buffer, and what's it going to feel like having Buffer call your name the first time after the tough when you go out there and fight? How's that going to feel?
Yeah, I have no idea where that came from, honestly. When I was just coming into the Tough House, I was really nervous, and I didn't know an icebreaker, and they said to introduce yourself, so I kind of just froze up and said it. But honestly, now that I'm looking over at my coaches, that's a Manolo thing. Every day he'll say, "And now," and he kind of just introduces the team on some funny note. We also get a lot of boos, so if I'm competing in another country and they want to boo me, hell, I'm used to that too. It's all a pump up. But it'll be really incredible to hear Bruce Buffer announce, but it's just kind of fun. Hey, maybe I have an announcer in my career. I don't think we've seen any female announcers, but damn, do I got a good voice.
I love it. Last thing for me, you know, Brian Battle was in here, and Brian, a former tough guy himself, brings his trophy when he goes. He actually brought it to this fight as well. Do you envision yourself seeing you bringing the trophy now around you to your fights?
Nah, as my coach Juliana said, don't get married to your wins and losses. This is water under the bridge, and I'm on to the next one. Of course, I'm so honored and grateful to be the tough 30 champion that I knew I was. However, moving on to the next, to be honest, Brian is a strong dude, because dang, that thing's heavy. I ain't trying to bring it everywhere with me. You know, I carry it with it on my heart and in my face, and, you know, I don't need to wear a strap for people to know who I am.
That's awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you.